strong.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Welcome to lesson number 6. I am Peter Okebukola, and today is Monday, the 14th of June, 2021. This lesson is about money, about money. The topic is funding quality assurance activities. How do you fund all the quality assurance activities, internal, external? How do you raise the funds? How do you judiciously manage the funds? These are some of the questions that we'll be answering in this very, very important lesson. Did somebody ask me about my reaction to the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine that I took a few days ago? Oh yeah, I'm going to answer you. No reaction at all. The first one, nothing. So I have to thank God for that. So at the end of this lesson, we're going to be distributing the funds to you. Yeah. So let's get to the lesson on funding quality assurance in higher education, quality assurance activities. So let's go. Oh yes, so here we go. Funding quality assurance activities. Just a few minutes ago, we had a wonderful lecture on development, validation, and use of instruments for quality assurance by a renowned quality assurance expert, Professor Noel Biodun Saliu. You can see he's even happy with himself that he gave such an outstanding lecture. And our special guest of honor, Professor Smaranda Olarinde, Vice Chancellor Afe Babalola University, Ado-Ekiti, gave us another wonderful words of welcome. You can see Professor Isaac Buswell, our host for the day. By the way, dear participants, he has sent in your questions. 10 questions on this topic. Professor Munioluwa Olaniyi, our debate coordinator, Ambassador for Peace, Professor Joy Yisi, Professor Olubiyi and Adewale, and Professor Greg Okagbari, star-studded participants here. So what are we going to learn in this lesson? We are going to list activities that we spend money on in quality assurance. We're going to estimate the cost and the sources of funding. Where are we going to get the money from to fund quality assurance activities? We're going to see how we manage the funds judiciously. And we'll engage in the debate if funding is a sufficient condition for effective quality assurance in higher education institutions. But just before we begin, let me burst a myth. And that myth is that UNESCO has specified that every country in the world, 194 or 195 of them, that the minimum that should spend in a budget on education is 26%. My brother, my sister, that's a big lie. UNESCO no talk so. I give you some little bit of background. 2001, 20 years ago, while I was ESNUC, got these unions, staff unions, telling government that UNESCO has specified that 26%. And they came to my office and I said, look, I've been doing some work for UNESCO on funding, quality assurance, funding, quality assurance, don't enter my mouth. Funding of education. So I don't have any literature to support that. Can you give me a document? Till tomorrow, there's no document like that. And incidentally, October of that year, we went for the UNESCO General Conference, where all the countries of the world will gather on education at UNESCO headquarters in Paris. And Minister Professor Babalola Borishade and a group of we went to greet the big courtesy visit on the Director General of UNESCO. And Professor Babalola Borishade asked, Your Excellency, can we get this document on this 26%? The man was looking at us. It's strange. Where is the 26% coming from? By the way, you don't get this 26% in any literature, not only Nigeria, 9-day. So you go check anywhere, you don't find it. So my brother, my sister, don't fall into that lie. But because the lie has been told so many times, it's like truth to many people. So there's a free gift for you, free gift. There's this book, Towards Innovative Models for Funding Higher Education in Africa, which I edited. UNESCO, of course, an AAU book, and all of these were the people who funded the project. So you are going to get the French version, the English version for free. Oh, what a delight attending this course. Now, what happened was we're looking at funding, and this is practical track. So should I be telling you theories? I thought I could do a survey of participants in this course, a survey on a survey on quality assurance activities that they spend money on. So what did I find? You can say this directors of quality assurance within a few minutes. I tell you, because I give them just about an hour or so, returned they completed the online questionnaire and they gave this information. So Dr. Akibino Moses of Caleb University said they spend money on Turnitin. That's a plagiarism checking software. Lecturers' assessment of students. Look at all of this because there's no time to read all of this. You can pause the video and see what others are spending money on. You find that what they're spending money on is largely what you also are spending money on in your universities. Professor Eric Amadi of Rivers State University, provision of good office space. Professor Fatokun Johnson, Anchor University, Lagos, computer systems, research. What I've done is to just highlight the ones that are not repeated elsewhere. Professor Gabadin Wasiu, University of Abuja, they spend money on external accreditation visit, capacity building for staff, orientation program for new staff and students, monitoring of infrastructure, conducting credible exams, among others. Hey, this is my DQA, my Director of Quality Assurance, my university. Professor Rafiu Okune was my dean 50 years ago. Oh, no. Several years ago, several decades ago. So the university spends money on monitoring of examination for the Directorate of Quality Assurance, by the way, development of instrument, attendance at workshop. Dr. Salisu Musa, I've arranged this in alphabetical order. Al-Kalam University, Kasina. Laboratories, no, staff offices, the others are there. Professor Tanglang, oh, you can see we have Open University. Professor Tanglang is one of the leaders in quality assurance in Open Universities in the world. ICT infrastructure, learners certificate verification, external examination. Professor Okaga Chinyere, Imo State University of Owerri. All of this, including, you can see vehicles, maintenance and all that, training and workshop expenses towards staff, capacity development. So what have I done? What I've done is to harvest this and put my own inside to list major activities that you as a director of quality assurance will carry out in a year or when the directorate is being set up. I've talked about keeping and furnishing of the quality assurance director. When it's set up, it has to be furnished, it has to be equipped. And purchase of operational vehicle, which Madam Chinyere mentioned earlier, vehicle maintenance, ICT infrastructure, and internet service, annual subscription of internet service. You know, we are in a world where the internet is king, and you're going to use it extensively for quality assurance activities. Stationery and office supplies, procurement of relevant software, e.g. plagiarism checker. You know, Caleb University talked about Turnitin. You see, Turnitin is just one of several. Indeed, I didn't put Turnitin here because Nigeria has developed its own, homegrown, launched by the vice president of the country himself, organized by the Committee of Vice Chancellors, CVC. Conduct of on-site visits by internal quality assurance teams, including monitoring of examinations. Meetings relating to conduct of quality assurance activities. We expect that you come up with a newsletter, electronic and hard copies, for them to know what's happening in your university and outside of it. I think 4 issues, that's quarterly. 2 number quality assurance capacity building workshops. Go to organize workshops in the year. Annual reports, you got to produce. Honorarium for experts, you got to give them. When they do mock accreditation, you got to give them honorarium. Then NUC and professional bodies, when they come for accreditation, it's all part of the budget of the Quality Assurance Directorate. I'm assuming you have 5 programs. So the survey continued by my asking the directors of quality assurance, brilliant people, how much does it cost in your university? So let's see the survey. Dr. Akibino Moses of Caleb said, well, he doesn't know. Professor Eric Amadi of Rivers State University said it costs about 500,000 naira. By the way, don't bother. Don't think these are these values or these yes estimates are small or big. That's what they spend their university, and you can't put a rigid figure or a figure that will cross cut everything. Professor Johnson Fatokun of Anchor University Lagos, say about 3.82 million. Wasiu Gabadin, Professor, University of Abuja, 100 million naira and above. Professor Rafiu Okuneye, Lagos State University, 500,000 naira. Dr. Musa Salisu, Akalam University, 150 million naira. Professor Tanglang, 1 billion naira. You can see the variability in this. Professor Chinyere Ukaga, I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce the last name correctly, Imo State University, maybe over 100 million. So what did I do? I got my team of experts together and looking at the expenses at the distance we had. Oh, but before we get there, let's take a peep into the NUC budget for accreditation. You know, NUC will send you a bill coming for accreditation. And look at the details of the bill. I'm so delighted. I'm glad to have received this from NUC through the Director of Academic Planning. It's a panel for one program. You know you have 3 professors and 1 NUC rep. So this is what you earn for DTA, the same thing. Transportation, the same thing. Honorarium, different. The chairman earns 50,000 naira more. And so you get 1.322 million for one program. But if it's a medical program, it's 2.276 based on this on this breakdown. So my own estimate is this: working with my experts, equipping and furnishing of the Quality Assurance Directorate, about 14 million. Purchase of operational vehicle, 23 million. You got to buy a new vehicle, and the vehicles, because of the exchange rate of the naira to the dollar, it's rather steep now. So this setup cost. Maintain the vehicle annually, servicing and all of that, and fueling, 1.2. ICT infrastructure, annual subscription internet, 8.4. See all of this, totaling. Number 13 is payment to NUC and professional bodies for accreditation. If you look at about 5 programs in a year, so that's about 10 million. So we have about 70 million. That is the estimate. So this practical track for this particular lesson is important for you, director of quality assurance. You go to your vice chancellor. What's your budget? This is your budget. This is the minimum that can happen. So, but hey, this plenty money, 70 million. Where will it come from? So I continue the survey, and this is what we have. Dr. Akibino Moses said, well, the money will come from the proprietor. The proprietor will have to cover the money. Eric Amadis said, office of the vice chancellor only. Professor Fatokun, University Management. Professor Gabadin, Government Subvention, Internally Generated Revenue, Development Partners from Donor Agencies, Grants for Manpower Development. By the way, we don't use manpower again, it's human resource development, because the women that fought us 20 years ago, so this word is not in use again, it's just human resource development, among others. Professor Okuneye, University Authorities of Management. Dr. Salisu, Akalam University, Katsina, tuition. Professor Tanglang, Government Subvention, Internal Generated Revenue, TED Fund. Professor Okaga Chinyere, Imo State University. I highlighted all of this because it looks a little bit more comprehensive. Internal Generated Revenue, funds from the government, education support interventions from TED Fund and other federal agencies like the Federal Ministry of Education, needs assessment projects, endowments, public funding of training and workshop. I asked them, what are the other ways of funding quality assurance? And they gave me all of this. So if you wish to read this at your convenience. We are moving. So for me, where do you get this money from? From all that our experts have said, but it will be more. I am proposing, and this will come with a concept note, a solid proposal that we're going to make into NUC, that 0.5% of tuition should be extracted and put as quality assurance support fund. You know, NUC has some formula, including 10% of the budget of the university allocated to library. Quality assurance has come to the fore, exceedingly important. So we have to get a percentage. This is just coming off my heart. I will my Vigbe hat. I will work this out very meticulously and come up with a proposal, which I'm going to share with all of you, so that together we get this across to NUC, and NUC will then bless it. And so every university will have to be allocating that amount to quality assurance support fund. And so when they come on accreditation, they are going to ask for that. That's extremely important. If not, we'll be changing ourselves. The direct grant for university budget provision, funds internally generated, and grant from external agencies. So how do you manage the funds? There are some guiding principles. When you Directorate of Quality Assurance, I'm not saying everybody, when you get plenty money now, chop go enter. So we have to manage the funds judiciously. Accountability, prudence, and transparency should be the watchwords. And you have to be compliant with the Procurement Act. The provisions of the Procurement Act, you have to be compliant with it. And then you have to have internal audit of all the accounts of the Directorate of Quality Assurance. So there's this debate. Is funding a sufficient condition for effective quality assurance in a higher education institution? Is it a sufficient condition? We know it's a necessary condition, but is it a sufficient condition? That is, when funding is there, all the other challenges will disappear, will like mist in the early morning sun. Is that true? See, this our framework tells me that it's not true. Because look, funding is a necessary condition, but it's not all the conditions. So if you have a lot of money in the university and you get poor quality students into it, quality output, you can't guarantee that. You have teachers who are not motivated, who will be doing their own on their side and all of that. So teachers' qualification, experience, input variables. Finance is just an input variable. So when somebody comes to me and say, okay, what are the challenges facing this? In the other discussion forum, say, leave out finance, because everybody say funding. They'll say, give all the funds in the world to them. Will it change anything? Yes, because funding is necessary for getting instructional materials, making life comfortable for the teachers, their welfare and all of that. But it's not a sufficient condition, but it's a necessary condition. Okay, look at teaching and learning processes. So the teaching, if I come to class, if I teach well, is it because of the money that I have that you're giving to me, or is it because of some other motivation than money? So in debating this, in submitting to discussion forum number 3, which is coming up on actually on Wednesday, Wednesday this week, you should have to indicate that finance is a necessary condition, but it's not sufficient. And to earn your marks, you have to take this input and process variables one by one. So what have we learned in this lesson? We have listed the quality assurance activities. We have listed accreditation. We have listed purchase of vehicle, ICT, workshops, mock accreditation, and we have estimated the cost. The cost that I've estimated here is 70 million plus. It can be more, but that is just a modest estimate. And then where would the money come from? I talked about quality assurance support fund, 0.5%. It can be 5%, it can be 1%, it can be whatever. We'll work that all out. And then the funds will have to be managed judiciously. Transparency, accountability, key watchwords. Is funding sufficient? Is it everything that there is? Of course not. Yes, so a promise is a promise. I did promise you that I'm going to give you this book, the English and French versions. To get this book, to download, just go to this site and you'll get the French and English versions. That brings us to the end of this interesting lesson. Oh, so bye-bye. Oh, you are asking me about the money that I'm going to distribute. If you think I'm going to distribute this, you got something else coming. So look for your own money. So until next lesson, which is lesson number 7, it is bye-bye from me.